Vantage Point Children and Family Services was founded in 2014 by Dwayne Moment, Keon Frazier, and Willie Frazier. Vantage Point's mission is to use various vantage points to help unlock youth and family potential. The organization is much more than a mentoring service. It provides services ranging from tutoring to parent education and even a charitable initiative which gives direct aid to families in need of assistance. Hear what inspired Vantage Point's founders and their executive director, Kathy Neal, to do the incredible work serving our communities every day.
Well, for me, it took me back to my childhood. Just starting to work with kids, I immediately thought about guys that I grew up with, and thought that all they really needed was someone to like spend some time with them, somebody to be a positive impact in their life, and maybe their lives would have turned out differently. So that was my inspiration, just thinking back to my childhood and having some friends that I actually lost to violence, and thinking like, what would happen if he had a mentor, at the age of 13 to 14, how would his life have been different? So that's what I went into every day working with kids. Like, how can I be a positive impact? How can I change this kid's life? So that was my initial inspiration into going into this.
I worked at a company starting out as a direct care provider and moved into management. And I did that for years. And then I got to the point that I knew that wasn't what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, but I enjoyed working with the children. So there's a big difference between working with the children and being on the ground running versus some other aspects that were needed. So I applied for human resources at the company. And I decided if I didn't want to work with the kids on the floor, that maybe I could find the right kind of people to work with the kids. So that became my goal, is to, I went back to school and got my degree in human resources, and continued to learn and just focus on getting the right people with the youth versus just going out and working in a corporate type office.
Thank you for that.
My passion came literally from my roots, is similar to kind of like Will's and Kathy's as well. Probably definitely more in line with Will, because literally the people that helped raise me, I come from a background. I'm literally from Philadelphia, and South Philly to be exact. And my parents had me young, so they struggled with raising me. So my grandmother stepped in, did a huge job in helping me stay on track. And then we had what we call, old heads, which is an endearing statement for guys in your community that basically made sure you stayed on track. Even if they were doing something wrong, they made sure you wasn't doing it. So that was my passion. And so like literally when I graduated, high school, like literally in 1985, I went into the Navy. When I got stationed out in San Diego, my first thing was to find, the neighborhood that kind of was similar to the neighborhood I grew up with, and then introduce myself to some of the the middle schools and the elementary schools and the high schools. So I started literally mentoring kids in elementary school. I'm only 19 years old myself, but it was, the passion came from always remembering all the people that did something for me. The older guys, I got guys, a whole bunch of friends of mine, and they older than me. They like older brothers who I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for them. I definitely would have been in a different path, but they made sure that didn't happen. So that's where my passion comes from.
Yeah, and I'm pretty much similar, just having a passion to help my community. I think it's a lack of positive males in the inner city, and just coming from it, like I say, like my brother said, I kind of felt like I knew what a lot of inner city kids needed. And I mean, you can never, save the world, but I think, saving one or two just by investing time in them, I think it's all worth it. So that was just a passion of mine. That's what drove me to this field.
What would you say, in your opinion, is the best part of being a provider and doing the kind of work that you do?
I would say outcomes. That's the best part for me. I had a kid that was recently, he was one of my first 3 clients that I had. and he literally just graduated high school and got engaged. So I saw his mother. She sent it to me in the text. So that's the best part for me, just seeing a kid like that, seeing where he came from to where he is right now. That's the best part for me.
Yeah, I kind of echo what Will's saying. It literally what he said. Like it's to Will's point, I had a situation where a person I ran into in Kroger, a kid, me and my wife is shopping and I'm hearing him say my name, Mr. Dwayne, and I'm turning around, I look, and then when I recognize who it is, to come up and shake my hand and give me a hug with his girl, he has his baby with him and he's shopping. To Will's point, is no better feeling that because you know where they were at and you know where they were headed. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think just echoing what they said, just seeing those positive outcomes, and then also just being a major and a key resource to some of the children and families, because you'll you'll have some of these kids, you may know them a year or two or work with them a year or two, and 3-4 years down the line, they might have a situation and a parent will reach out to you and be like, he wanted to talk to you. And I'm like, what makes me so special out of everybody in the world he could reach out to, family, friends, or whatever? The child might be struggling or something and want to reach out to, a provider that he worked with years ago, or just, for a brief amount of time. It's just, having that impact in a positive way on the kid in such a short time. And, that makes me feel good.
I don't see it on the outcome side so much. Mine has always been finding the right match for the client. So I get a lot of case managers will be like, do you have somebody available? And I'll be, yeah. And they're like, well, can you tell me who? I want to put it on the referral. And I'm like, I'd really like to see the referral first so I can find the best match for what they're dealing with. By having so many providers, we do have a lot more qualifications. We have ABA specialists that, that's what they do on their other jobs, things like that. So if they have autism, we can provide that. If they need if it needs to be a male mentor or a female, what's their specialty? So that's been, I like to match up the right people. And if it doesn't work, then, move on to somebody else, because you're there for them and the best outcome. So that's kind of my favorite part.
I enjoyed speaking with Vantage Point about all of the good work that they're doing. To read more about the organization, visit our blog and read the full version of this interview.